My name is Josie Rosario,
I'm Trent Lash.
I'm Jacob Nyhofer.
and today we're going to teach you about pizza. That's not what I was supposed to say. Take two. Hi, I'm Josie Rosario,
I'm Trent Lash.
I'm Jacob Nyhofer.
and today we're going to talk about pizza. Well, sort of. Today we're going to take you into our classroom and teach you about something called the DuPont analysis. So, what does this have to do with pizza? Well, using the DuPont analysis, we can figure out why an investor might want to invest in a pizza company and what are the driving changes in what's going on with the company's equity. So what is the DuPont analysis? Well, the DuPont analysis, also known as the DuPont method, DuPont identity, and DuPont model, was created over 100 years ago to analyze why a company's ROE is changing. What was discovered by the DuPont Corporation that so cleverly gave the equation its name was that the ROE was actually a product of three other ratios: the profit margin, which measures the company's operating efficiency, the asset turnover, which measures asset use efficiency, and the equity multiplier, which measures the company's financial leverage. With these three ratios, which Trent and Jacob will discuss further, an investor can look at the driving forces of an increase or a decrease in a company's ROE and decide whether or not they want to invest. Or it can be utilized by a manager trying to increase their pizza joint's success.
Hey guys, Trent here. So today we're going to talk about some of the driving forces that might change ROE and the factors that go into it. First, we're going to start off with profit margin. A good example of this for our pizza company is going to be, let's say the price of cardboard increases. Then the price of our pizza boxes are going to increase, our cost is going to increase, our net profit is going to decrease, and then our profit margin is going to decrease. Now, if the opposite were to happen and cardboard prices decrease, then our pizza boxes are going to decrease in price, our cost is going to decrease, our net profit is going to increase, and then our profit margin is also going to increase. Next, we're going to look at the asset turnover ratio. Let's say our company decides to spend less on advertising. Then we would have less commercials, we would have less sales, and then our asset turnover ratio would decrease. Now, if we decided to invest in new cars, sell our unproductive old cars that might get worse gas mileage, our asset turnover ratio is going to increase. So far, we've talked about the profit margin and asset turnover ratios. Both of these are positively correlated with the ROE, so as they increase, so does the ROE.
To recap, if profit margin increases, ROE also increases. And if asset turnover increases, ROE again also increases.
So lastly, we're going to talk about our equity multiplier. So let's say that we take out a loan to buy those new cars. We buy the new cars, we increase our assets, and that in turn is going to increase our equity multiplier. Now, if we're going to decrease the equity multiplier, we're going to need to sell off some stock, increase our equity, and that will decrease our equity multiplier.
So once again, recap. If equity multiplier increases, ROE also increases. What this is basically saying is that you want to increase all of these methods: efficiency, solvency, and profitability. When you do that, ROE increases. Boom.
Hello guys. We are going to go over the three types of ratios that consist of the DuPont analysis. There's solvency ratio, which is the equity multiplier, efficiency ratio, which is the asset turnover, and profitability ratio, which is profit margin. And these three types of ratios encompass the final return on equity measurement. And the reason why we have a solvency ratio is because if our pizza company has a lot of their assets tied up in their equipment and like cars and in the building and land, then they don't have a lot of cash laying around, then they're not very solvent, and if something goes south, then they won't be able to sell off their assets fast enough to pay off their debt. Our next ratio that we're going to be talking about is the asset turnover, which is an efficiency ratio. And the asset turnover measures how much revenue does $1 of of an asset earn? So, in keeping with our pizza business, let's say that they have a conveyor belt oven. How much of that specific asset earns them sales, basically? So, and if, for example, they have $300,000 in assets and only $500 in revenue, well, their assets aren't very efficient, are they? And the last measure is profitability, and in the DuPont analysis is profit margin, and this measures how profitable is the business in comparison to its costs. So let's say our pizza place earns $200,000 for the year, but your operating costs and income taxes and interest payments end up being $150,000. So we have a total profit of $50,000. So is that going to be enough to pay all your employees, to pay yourself, to reinvest back in the business, or is that going to, or is there some cost that you need to cut? So this specific measures how profitable your business is in comparison to the costs that you have to pay.
Okay, so final recap. The return on equity is part of the DuPont analysis, and what it tells you is what specifically is driving changes in it. Is it the profit margin? Is it the asset turnover? Or is it the equity multiplier? Using these three ratios, an investor or a manager can figure out what is going on in the company, how it can improve, or how it's going to do in the long run. The end.